how far?
What if you put it on the table, Kylee? Is there like any?
Brought my little thing.
Okay, here we go.
I'm gonna put it on the stroller. How about that?
Perfect. Well, guys, we are officially live. Welcome, everybody. It is all of our moms here, and everybody has their babies now. I was just telling Alex and Kylee, Chelsea, that I missed you. I really did. I feel like I haven't seen you guys since like the summer. Alex still had babies in her belly. Kylee, look how big they got. Oh my gosh. And Chelsea, I was looking at your boys on your husband's Instagram. Can't believe it. They're giant monkeys. So before we go any further, we're going to talk today about a few different twin mom things. And as you could see, all of our moms are in different ages and stages of their twin momminess. But would you guys mind introducing yourself to the universe? So we'll go Kylee, Alex, and Chelsea. Is that good? All right. All right. Kylee, you're up first. Tell us who you are and who's with you. Oh my God.
Hi, I'm Kylee, and I'm joining from the library. The public library is awesome for children, obviously. I have my 2-year-old son playing inside, and I have these guys, 2 boys, and they are 4.5 months now, and this is Caden and Keegan. Oh. And that's it. Our life is chaos. Awesome.
That's an easy way to put it. Alex, introduce us to a baby.
My name's Alex, and babies are already today 3 weeks old. So this is me. She's having a little snooze, and this here that's Fiona, and yeah, things are chaotic here too. I think that's just like a twin mom life maybe, but we're settling in at home with 4 kids now, and it's slowly becoming normal life.
Oh my gosh. Well, 3 weeks is still really new. So you're really, I mean, that's not even enough to break a smoking habit. I don't know. I remember the commercials when I was young. It was like, it takes this many days. So you're almost there. You're doing good. I'm so happy that you're here. And then Chelsea, introduce the world to you.
Sure. So I'm Chelsea. I have 8-month-old twin boys. They're not with me because I'm at work. And yeah, they're doing great. They're huge.
Oh my gosh, they are. They're super, super sweet. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to get you guys today, and I've never had, like, we've never done this. So it's exciting to me to be able to have you guys all together, because I feel like you're part of our mom squad, right? So we often have like official mom squad meetings, and I feel like you should be in on everything, but we don't want to. Your babies are still little, so you're almost there. We don't want to burden you with all of the other things that we have going on. But we did send you some questions ahead of time, and I was curious, and I would love if also, like, if you have advice for each other too, because you're all right there. Like, Chelsea's paving the way, and then Kylie's right behind, and then Alex is so fresh to this. It's crazy, but you have the benefit of having done this twice already. So that's always a positive thing. So what I want to ask is, going back to your delivery, in Twiniversity classes, we often go through like a day in the life of expecting your twinnies. Alex, I think you're the only one who didn't take a Twiniversity class, because Kylee, you took it online, right? And then Chelsea, you took it in person. Betty just stole something. Could we just acknowledge that the dog is stealing things out of my daughter's room?
Yeah, it was our 1-year meeting anniversary. Sorry to interrupt you, but I felt like nostalgic. It was a year last week that I took the class.
So that was the 101. So this week would have been the 201.
Yeah.
So today's class. So oh my gosh, that doesn't feel like a year ago. Well, in the class, we talked a little bit about delivery date, but we have so much to cover in the class that we only kind of get to the tip of the iceberg. I was wondering if each of you had a little bit of wisdom of something that you really wish you could have maybe known about or planned better for on the delivery day of your twins. So did anybody have something that you'd be like, yeah, totally, I wish that, Nat would have told us, or even we could have taught the masses in things like this? Did anybody have anything great happen?
Great.
Well, I know that. Oh, great.
not great that happened, but just out of curiosity, I know Chelsea had a very difficult delivery. So there's nothing that we could have possibly told her that would have assisted in that delivery. But Alex or Kylee, was there anything you wished you would have known, or for you guys, right? Since you both had delivered babies before, was there anything that maybe was remarkably different because there was two instead of one?
Yeah, like I think it was a very different experience altogether, because my first I had vaginally, and then the second we had C-section, but we had been induced, and like at that point at 38 weeks I was like, get these babies out of me, right? And I was like saying, can we just like schedule a C-section, because one of them was already breech, but they weren't going for that. They were like, let's try this induction thing. So I went through a lot of labor and all the pains and all that stuff just to go through the C-section anyway. So probably would have like pushed harder on my own behalf to just have said like, let's do this C-section, because I just felt like powerless to that, to being able to just say like, this is what I want, and they weren't listening. So I just probably would have pushed a little bit harder to not have to go through all the stuff that I went through. And have more control over it. Yeah. And then I know that a lot of people like get really afraid of C-sections, and there's a lot of discussion about it. And I know you talked about it in the Twiniversity class as well, but like to me it was really, really scary, not just like the fact that I was getting a C-section, but like when you're in there, like I feels like nobody is like paying attention to you, but they're only paying attention to like the baby, and not like, and I'm like freaking out, like literally having a panic attack, saying like, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. And they're like, oh no, that's fine, that's normal. And I'm like, does not feel normal at all. But okay. And then like you just like, I don't know, you feel like focus on the babies, and then you're like, what's going on? And if you have no sense of time, no sense of where you are or what's going on at all. So that to me was like really freaked me out. But I feel like if I was to ever do that again, which I don't know if I will or not, but if I was to ever do that again, at least I would know up front that, okay, I want the C-section first, and know that like, this is the situation. It isn't all about me, but just to know that like, I'm okay. I'm still going to be okay.
Oh my gosh. Alex, did you have any epiphanies on your delivery day? Anything that was really remarkably different, or something you could have changed?
I'm similar to Kylee in that my first two were vaginal deliveries. The first one I had an epidural, and second one I had unmedicated. So this time I had to have a scheduled C-section because both of my girls were transverse. Actually, the A was breech. So I didn't really have an option, and just was going full pelt into the C-section. And I agree with Kylee, like it really was, it was way scarier than I thought it would be, because you're in the OR, and like, you're not allowed to have your partner there right away, at least here. And I felt like I was going through it all alone, and then you're like hidden from everything. So I think I wish I knew more. I knew the process of it, but I wasn't mentally prepared for it as much as I tried to mentally prepare myself. I had the benefit of knowing that I was having a C-section, and knowing that I was going in a certain time. And I think that was also hard, because I thought, okay, I'm going in at 4:00, and by 5:00 I should have my babies in my and it was really overwhelming, knowing that, like, obviously already my life had changed the minute we found out we were having twins, but knowing that in an hour's time we're going to have the babies there really changed things. So I wish I just was given more, I guess, more personal experiences. Okay. C-sections. I tried to find that with my friends, but have a lot of friends who had scheduled C-sections. So
do you think that there are any tips that you could give an expecting mom? Like, what if we were the opportunity now to prepare you for that day?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's take ourselves out of the situation of what we went through. Like, what would you tell your sister, or what would you tell your best friend if you're like, they're scheduled for a C-section, here's what's going to happen? What would be like the most valuable piece of advice that you would give them?
I would say the most valuable piece of advice would be, I don't know. I actually really don't know that it would all be over soon, and it's really not that scary. I just wish I maybe take everything in stride. Everyone kept saying to me, it's still a major surgery, and you need to look after yourself. And I just was like washing that away. I was like, oh yeah, it's a big surgery, but like vaginal deliveries were hard too. But this was not a walk in the park. And I wish someone was just like really blunt with me and had said, like, look, you're going to have a hard time. Don't be surprised if you can't walk the next day. Don't be surprised if you're hunched over and can only make it to the bathroom. And just I appreciate when people are brutally honest and about scaring me, which is hard to do. Like, you don't want to scare moms either.
No, it is. It's a very, very fine line, because you want people to be prepared, but then you want them to be realistic about it. Now, Chelsea, you had like a very interesting situation, right? So if it's not that everything went wrong, it's that a lot of things did. But on the bright side, like looking back at it now, if you could find a bright side, was there anything that you or Jared did in the hospital that really you're like, oh, you got to do this if you're in the hospital for an extended amount of time, whether it's a C-section or something even more complicated?
Yeah. Well, I would say too, like, I think I was lucky in New York that I had like the best high risk doctor in the world who was doing my surgery. Like, she's literally the best doctor in the world, maternal fetal medicine. And so I was very confident in her. In fact, maybe I was overly confident in that. I was like, whatever they're doing is the right thing, because I really had a lot of trust in them. But I knew the second that they told me I could deliver one vaginally and one by C-section, I was like, no, we're scheduling a C-section. Sign me up. Forget that shit. Yeah, although, and kudos to everybody else, but I was like, I mean, at that point, you might as well just pull them out of my mouth. So I kind of knew that was the end game. I mean, I think if you said to me, like, what would I say to myself before? I don't think there's anything I would say, because you're so scared that I was so scared I was going to go into labor before the scheduled C-section, and that my plan wasn't going to work out, that I couldn't even comprehend what people were telling me to anticipate after the birth. Like, I just had to have that happen before I could think about what was next. And I don't think any of that would change. The one thing that I think was great in my experience is that we lived in the hospital for a week. So we left pretty confident that like, we're kind of like, these babies are alive. They've been alive for a week. They've had pediatric care for a week. Like, when we get home, we kind of have a better idea of what to do with them than if we went home 3 days later.
I think that's the benefit of having medical complications.
Yeah,
that
definitely.
you get bonus time to be in the hospital.
Yeah.
Kylee, was there anything that you would have done, any piece of advice that you would give a parent that is maybe expecting upon the delivery of her C-section?
Yeah, so actually I think the best advice that I just like be super like gentle with yourself. Can you guys hear me? Because it's frozen on my side.
It's frozen.
Okay, so
I can hear you good.
Okay. So just be super gentle with yourself recovering. And I actually had an easier time recovering from my C-section than my first.
Really?
Just I know it happened, but that happened for me. And I think like for me, I focused on not using my core at all, trying to be very careful in and out of bed, and just being overly cautious, even with a 2-year-old for like and things like that. And there's still damage there, but I don't think that it was as bad being sore for as long as I was for the first one and things like that. So I just be nice to yourself, be gentle, keep it if you can, and like they had to in the hospital. I was there for like 4 days because I wanted to be there for 4 days.
Good.
Like I one of the nights was just exhausted by this point because being up 48 hours or whatever for and then the C-section like the next day, I was just exhausted, so they gave me like a pain and I just went to sleep for like, they're like, we are taking care of your babies, you need to sleep. And I was able to get some sleep at least.
So now riddle me this. It's actually really interesting that you brought that up, that you had an easier delivery with a C-section than a vaginal delivery, because I don't think a lot of people would do that. But what Kylee has going for her is that she's much more in tune with her body than the average bear. I mean, seriously, I watch her exercise. This is so creepy. It sounds creepy, but I like to watch you exercise in your garage with the baby. I'm really impressed. She's unbelievable. But when that's her vocation, right? So you are like super fit mama. And not that I'm saying that it can't be fixed, but like if you're having issues with your core and diastasis and other things, like it almost makes it seem not more okay for the average mom, but like if you couldn't fix it, then people should know that it's not just easily fixable. Like I think that if anybody could fix it, you're like Wonder Woman in my mind when it comes to physicalness. I think you're crazy, wonderful like that. So it's to give yourself that slack and to really make sure that you're taking care of yourself post C-section. It really, really is important. Now, with that, for the first month that these babies are home, so many things change. Alex hasn't even completed her month with the babies home. So she's getting there, but you've had the 2 babies before. Do you think that it gets more difficult or do you think that it gets easier? So was that first month harder than any other period of time? Or was it like, oh, that was cake because they were still sleeping, everybody came around? Like, do you remember that? Chelsea, do you remember the first month when the boys were here? Do you think that it was easier or harder than now?
Way harder. I think that someone told me this when I was in the thick of it. And it's like, I was like, is this the hardest part? Like, is it going to get easier? And they said, if you like sleep, this is the hardest part because it's physically and mentally taxing. Yes. And I thought that was wonderful advice because now that's my outlook. And I think month 1 to 2 was harder because month 0 to 1, I had a lot of help. Like we paid for like some overnight help. But month 2 to 3, I didn't have it. And they were much more alert and awake. And I like was a professional pacifier put trainer, like my job. Yeah. So I think that was a much harder month. I think now is a wonderful age. Like boys are like the best time ever. They're so silly.
Chelsea, did your boys sleep in the same crib?
No, never.
They slept, but when they were in your room, they were sleeping in 2 separate baskets or whatever they were in.
Yeah.
Alex, are your babies sleeping together or are they sleeping in 2 separate thingies now?
They have only really slept in the mama roos that I have them in. Okay. That's like our go-to for the first few weeks. It had been other kids as well. But we are hoping to transition them into their like a single bassinet together and see how it goes. I'm not really like going gung-ho for one or over the other. Okay.
So you're going to play it by ear and see what happens. Right now, you don't have a plan. Kylee, did they sleep together or were they in separate cribs?
So we started out in the swings as well. It was like necessary. We needed some sleep at least. So we did that. And then we had them in the same crib for a little bit. And then now they're in 2 separate cribs. They totally are completely different sleepers. Okay. One likes to like roll around and be on his belly and do whatever, and then the other one just like is stick straight and like likes to be swaddled, and he just does not move at all. So, and they don't wake each other up because they're in the same room, but they're totally different sleepers. So I just put them in 2 different cribs and they're awesome.
That makes sense. Now, you said, and Alex, you said too, that they're sleeping in the swings, so the mamaroo or the swings. When you have them in those, I don't want to say contraptions because that sounds like such like a medieval torture device, but when they're in either the swings or the mamaroos, did you have them in motion? Or were they just still using the 3-point harness to make sure that they were staying in?
They're, for me, I keep them still. Like normally throughout the day and at night, I keep them completely off. And then I only turn them on if they need soothing of some sort.
All
okay,
right.
I'm super about having them like plugged in like to their harness, because my 3-month-old, my first son, totally rolled out of the swing, like even at 3 months. Like, and I don't know how this happened, but like I'm very, very like cautious about it, because I'm like, the doctor's like number one tip at 3 months is like, they can do a lot more than you think that they can. It's true. Because you just, one day they start rolling over out of nowhere.
That is the truth. That is the truth. So everybody was buckled in, but Kylee, are they in motion, or are they just still in the beginning when they were in their swings?
In the beginning, they were in motion. So
They're in motion.
Mm-hmm. I actually used it so much that they, my motor went out on one of the swings. So
That's why that's a lot of swinging that
yeah.
you wear a motor out. That's really, really interesting. Now, out of the stuff that you have, right? So everybody wants to know about the stuff. We talk about a lot of stuff at Twiniversity. And the funny thing is, like, I want to say to the people that are watching, and if you don't think I'm right, I'm fine with it. But we often focus so much on the stuff that we forget other stuff needs to happen, like, you know, feeding and scheduling. Like, how could families better prepare for, and I don't want to say like the storm that's going to hit, because it's really not bad, but it's certainly not a gentle breeze that just passes your life right by. Like, instead of, you know, a new parent or, you know, an expecting parent, when everybody's so focused on the stuff, what are some things that we could do that are realistic, right? So what are some ways that we could realistically prepare now that you've all had the kids? Were there things that you would have done instead of spending 86 hours trying to find out, you know, what mattress was going to be the best for them to sleep on? Chelsea, I'm talking to you. Are there other things that do you think that you would have spent your time on that might have been more practical?
It's funny you say that. I literally said to Jared last night, we spent so much time looking up stuff and like none of it mattered. But then he reminded me, he was like, yeah, but it was important. And
yes,
like you liked doing it because you were a blob and like couldn't do much else. So I didn't have much regret in doing that. I don't think that you can prepare. I do think that you can maybe mentally prepare that this is going to be really different than having one baby. This is my first baby, so this is my only experience. And I have friends who now have one, and like, they're out to brunch with their one baby and their friend's one baby. And they're like, oh, clink, clink, you know, and, you know, Jared and I did have a good time in the beginning when they were like 4 months, up till about then. But, you know, now it's just too much. So I think mentally preparing that, like, this is going to be a little bit different than your friends with one baby. And you say it, you're like, F all your friends with one baby. But
that's why I'm going to have it painted on the wall.
It's really true. And like, you know, it's just a different ball game, and it's hard to relate it, like all the mom stuff. That's kind of how I felt. Like, nobody gets it unless they also have twins. And then I find someone with twins and like, be my BFF.
That's why we created Twiniversity, man. I was tired of stalking people in the streets of New York City like a maniac. So I mean, you never realize how, I don't want to come off negative, but you don't realize the struggle that it is to be a parent of twins until they're here. So I'm interested, like, Alex, like, how do you feel about that? Like, how do you feel about the two of them here? Do you think that realistically you knew that it was going to be, is it twice as hard, or is it less than twice? Is it like having 1.5 babies, or is it like having 9 babies?
I would say having 1.5 babies
1.5
is
babies.
definitely harder. I wouldn't say it's double the work, but like I need an extra set of hands. And this is my first week. I've been so lucky. We've had so much support. And this is my first week that I don't have someone staying with me all the time. So I'm looking for friends and family, like, come visit me. Come hold a baby. Like, please let me have a shower. Like, it's definitely harder. Like with one, I had no problem being left. Obviously, I appreciate the support, but I am a little bit intimidated this week about being left alone with both of them, and just juggling them, because I know sometimes they're both crying, and do you pick up both and bounce them around the house, or do you pick up the one who's crying more and leave the other one crying so you could feed them or whatever? So it's definitely harder than one, but it's not as, I don't know. I was really, really optimistic before they came. So my husband was the one who was worried. And he kept saying, well, how are we going to do this? And I was like, we'll figure it out. Don't worry. And we are figuring it out, but it's not as easy as I thought it would be.
Yeah.
So.
Now, Kylee, do you think that as they get older, the babies multiply? So do you think it goes from 1.5 babies in the beginning and now it's like having 19 babies?
Yes, I was gonna say, just like having like 19 babies, you might as well like have a million babies, because it's so hard. And I think that I love like the twin mom groups, because like you get to find other people who understand that, but also I'm finding other people who also have 2-year-olds or other children like Alex and I have, and I think that even like adds the extra element to it, that it's just like, oh my goodness, because I have my 2-year-old that's still crying, and he's still a baby, and he still wants attention. And I mean, obviously I feel my heart breaks for him, and then I have them. And so and I like, it's just hitting now that I feel like it's even more difficult. Like newborn stage, I knew that already, because I knew that the newborn stage is awesome. Like they sleep and they do the things that you want. You just sleep, eat, poop, that's it. And now it's like move and learn and talk and scream, and I don't know what's going on, like, you know, teething, all that fun stuff. So it just, I feel like it gets more difficult as time goes on, and I'm getting to I had high hopes that I was able to be doing things with my son, still going out and things like that. And the more we do it, the less I want to do of it. Like, okay, we're gonna be hermits for the next 3 years. Just stay inside and don't do anything, because it's so hard, but it's worth it, I feel like. But it's very, very hard.
Yeah, it is. And it's, you know, we talk about it. I think Alex and Chelsea are going to see it now that the winter's here. But in Twiniversity, we talk that like one of the mistakes that new parents make is isolating yourself, because it is so much easier to stay home than to go to brunch for maybe 6 minutes if you make it, right? So you do all this work to go out, and it gets really, really difficult. Where Kylee is, at least there's really not much of a season. You could go out all the time and you don't have to worry about the bundle knees and getting them in the car. Like this is pretty much it for you. I can't believe that.
But I did stay in a lot during the summer, because it's like really, really hot and way hot for babies. So that's like one thing you have to think about. But now we can finally go to parks without like burning to death. So yeah, we're okay.
Oh my gosh. Now, Chelsea, I know Kylee, I'm outing you on this one. I know Kylee now is having an issue with timing and getting places on time. And where once upon a time she valued herself as the most militantly on-time person, and now it's like, we'll get there when we get there. Chelsea, did you have a transition with that, where like you did something a certain way, and now that the puppies are here, you're like, yeah, I don't even know how we did that then?
Well, I'm pretty militant about being on time as well. So I'm like very early always. And now I just like leave so much extra time. I leave everywhere so early, and I'm like, it's annoying. Like I'll just leave really, really early and I start packing. And I've actually this week came to terms with like, okay, every Saturday and Sunday I get up at 6:50 like I do on, like that's it. Like I just have to get up early. There's no such thing as sleeping on the weekends anymore. And I get a good hour before the boys wake up. And now I just like try to get up earlier during the workday too.
That doesn't really end. I don't want to like scare the crap out of you guys, but like that doesn't end when they get older. I can't believe that my kids are going to be 13. I don't even understand how that happened. I mean, I have a wrinkle for every 5-year period of their life. I think I got a new line on my face, but in like now that they sleep, because they sleep in late, like on weekends, like normal teens do, I'm still getting up to do everything. And even though they have more responsibility, I still find that control freak classic Nat still has to do things a certain way or fold things a certain way. I'm definitely got a problem with that. But it's interesting because I really thought that there'd be a time when I'd be like, oh, the kids will be sleeping. Eventually I'll sleep. I don't know when that eventually is going to be, but I feel like that's just life. And if anything, you get a nap. You may still get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, but maybe if you're lucky, you get a nap at around 2 o'clock, or 4 o'clock is still my favorite time. Like 4 to 5:30 would be like my dream nap because I'm crashing anytime. Crashing that time all the time. But it's interesting. So Kylee, you're having a lot of trouble getting places. Is that what's happening in your new role?
It depends. Like I do get up early. I get up at 5 a.m. every day, and I get things done and ready, and I always make sure that like I'm starting like at least like 2 hours ahead of time to get out the door. It's draining, I'd say, because I force myself to get out every day, once a day at least, and you know, I think the things are that like I wanted to go a certain way, like get in the car seats, do the things, like don't cry, get ready, and like I tend to not have as much patience with my 2-year-old as I would love to have, and that's what's hard. I think that I struggle the most with him regressing because he's wanting to be having all the attention that he used to receive, and now it's a struggle for him right now. This is an interesting period for him.
Now, a weird show of hands, because I want to know all at the same time. How many of you have older siblings? Does anybody have a sibling? No, everybody's the baby or the single child. Well,
no, I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest. You're all the oldest. Oh, well, then I'm going to speak for all the younger siblings out there. I think something that, because I've talked to my sister a lot about this, because she hated me as a baby. Like,
and I hated my brother too.
I mean, honestly, like I'm thrilled that she never tried to murder me as an infant. And we joke about it all the time. And in hindsight, I don't want you to worry that like your older children are gonna like end up hating you, because I have such a great relationship, and I know so many people that whether they're twins or not, it kind of teaches that older child a lot more patience, right? Or Alex, in your case, your older children will teach them patience where they may not have had too much patience before, or were used to being the star of the show. It's a little bit of a culture shock, but I feel bad because I know that when I talk to my mom and many other moms at Twiniversity, everybody tries to like overcompensate, and they try to do more for the older children because these babies are here and they don't like the babies aren't going to realize what's happening. But you really do have to try to figure out a little bit of a balance, but try, you can't go too much and you can't go too little. It really is going to be, you got to find the sweet spot, and it's different for every family. With Alex, with her 2 kids, you have to now balance them, right? So the team against the older 2 as it is. It's going to be tough, but try. See, that's something that I think people could focus on instead of registering as much. Mm-hmm. Maybe trying to figure out a schedule with family. If you have older children, really trying to secure help for the twins so that you could continuously try to spend time with the older kids. Because what's horrible is that, Alex, I'm sure you're feeling it right now. When people come over, you might have the best intentions of going to do a puzzle with the kids or coloring, and then you're like, but I haven't washed today, or I have to, pay the bills, or whatever it is. So you got to budget for more time than you ever thought that you would need. And I feel like there's so many apps that, help with meal trains and apps that help with, family coming over and scheduling, that maybe that's something that we could do. But I really always laugh all the time at Twiniversity class. And when everybody's asking, the questions about the shocks on this tire and how big is the basket and whatever, well, I'll answer all of them. There's a piece of my mind that's going, they have no idea. They have no idea what's going to happen. They're worried about it, and I'll humor everybody and I'll be there for everybody. And speaking of being there for everybody, I know that Julie's on the back end, and I don't have it open, Jewel, by the way. If you're sending me messages, I'm not seeing anything that's coming out, but we do have a mentor program at Twiniversity that we launched a few months ago. So for our families that are out there and they don't have anybody in their neighborhood, or they haven't found anybody to connect with, I really do think that it's pretty important that you find other twin parents. Like Chelsea was saying, that, you have a lot of friends with one baby. It's sadly not the same. You do need somebody that has twins. And I don't know who I've told out of the story, but I tell this a lot, that in the beginning, we made so many friends that had twins. So whenever we would go out, it would be me and the twins, the mom and their twins, or the triplets. And my kids always thought that everybody was born in pairs. They really, like when my best friend had her baby, they were really concerned that there was only one. They thought that the other one was lost or left in the hospital. They didn't quite understand. And I never thought that I would have to have like a conversation, be like, well, babies are typically born, one at a time. And that's how it usually is done. But we got the bonus of having two. I never once thought that would be a conversation that I would have to have until my kids got the shit scared out of them, thinking that there was a kidnapped child. And it wasn't that situation. But that's how many twin friends that I was lucky to make. And we would go to the playground and we'd be like a pack. There'd be like a herd of us. There would be like the double stroller brigade. We'd roll on up there. That's it. But we all watched out for each other's kids. And it's one of those things that even at a playground, if you see a twin mom from across the way, like Chelsea's saying, you'll I say we should all have double tattoos so that when I'm raising my hands in public, you could find me, right? The teardrops were taken by the ex-cons, or the murderers in prison. So we can't do that now. But I feel like there should be something, maybe like a blue strand in our hair that could be like, oh, there she is. There's my people over there. So we're going to end soon. I know that Kylee has to go back to reality, but I hope this was kind of a nice break for you. I wanted to know, so far in your twin parenting journey, what has been the highlight? And the highlight, by the way, does not have to be the kids. The highlight could be something that you discovered about yourself, or something that you did that you were like, this is something that I'm going to remember for a very long time. Does anybody have anything that's just jumping out that was the best part of twin parenting life so far? Alex, you got anything? You're right there. So you have 3 weeks. You only have 3 weeks to look back on.
I have only 3 weeks, and I've only left the house a few times. I really realized last week that I was a twin mom, because I took them to their pediatrician appointment for a checkup, and I'm still not allowed to lift their car seats. Mm-hmm. So I went by myself. I drove to the doctor's office, and I got a carrier, a Wego, mm-hmm. And so I was able to put the carrier on, and I took them out of their car seats and had one in each side. Yeah. And I had their backpack diaper bag on. So I just felt like the mother mule.
Yes.
Carrying them all. I walked into the office, and it was the first time I had really been out with them.
Okay.
Both, and everyone's looking at me, and then it comes time to feed them in the doctor's office, and I had the bottles ready, and I'm trying to juggle, okay, how am I going to bottle feed one while I have the other on my chest? How am I going to burp the other one? So that, I think I'm going to remember that for a long time. It's like in the small 3-week time span that I've had both of them. But that really made me realize that there's two of them. There's two, and they both need me equally as much.
They do. They love you. Weird question about the WeGo. Are you able to like if you were breastfeeding, which I don't know if you are or not, but are you able to breastfeed in the WeGo?
No, no, it has a thing that comes up pretty much above your chest, like a backpack would, and then they front. So no, you couldn't breastfeed in it. I think I don't know about the Twingo, the front and back. If you go with that, at least the front one. But I have a wrap as well.
Yeah.
You definitely could with the wrap. I just am a little tentative to put both of them in the wrap.
Yeah, no, I honestly wouldn't, to be honest. They're still a little new. I would really get the lay of the land before you even start attempting. The WeGo was specifically made for the two, but it's really only for the little two. It's not going to last you a very long time there. Chelsea, did you have one too?
A WeGo?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It's like a big sack, let's say, and the baby slips in each sleeve. Yeah. So, but Alex, how many pounds does that go up to? Do you know?
33 pounds.
That's total.
Yeah.
33 pounds total. So yeah, you can't, it's tough. You can't wear it too long, but it's one of those things that when you need to use it, it's great to have, like, especially in your situation where you couldn't carry the two car seats. Now, Kylee, have you had a moment where you're like, the best part about this was?
Well, I just think, like, in general, the thing that I've taken away from this is just like, I'm amazed how strong we are, like, as like people and women, and like, we're able to do this. And like, it feels like very empowering that I'm able to get the things done that I still need to do as a mother, and be able to function with 3 kids. And it's like this is like thrust upon me, but at the same time, it's like, it's not something that everybody gets to do all the time. So I feel pretty special with that. And the fact that I'm still keeping up with my sanity and my health and things like that, and my relationship and things like that I think that are still important priorities, that we're able to do those things. And then just like the outpouring of support from, like, you know, just people that don't even know me, like, you know, going out and seeing me struggle with those 2 car seats or anything like that. People just are willing to, like, lend a hand and help out. And I really think that's, like, amazing about just having twins or just having kids in general. It's just like, there are people out there that support you, and I feel really grateful for that. And I feel like I honestly, like, feel like a badass, like, just being a twin mom. Like, I don't know if anybody else has, like,
no, you are.
But people are, like, just amazed that I'm able to function throughout the day. And it's like, well, I have to do what I got to do. There's no other choice than doing this. So, yeah, that's pretty fun that you're a sideshow, but you're also kind of like spectacular.
Oh, the sideshow was definitely it. Chels, what's been your highlight so far with the boys?
I think that it's a beautiful, like, I haven't had other kids, so I don't know what the experience of having one baby is, but it's, like, very nice that it's a shared experience. There's not one baby to be like, I'm going to hold the baby. No, I'm going to hold the baby. It's like, you hold this baby, I'm going to hold this baby. Or, like, you know, there's just a lot of love to come from both of them, and to watch them interact and, like, hold hands. And, you know, some of my friends need to try to find ways to get out of the house to, like, socialize their baby. I'm like, these guys have been socializing since they were in the womb, so they're fine. So I think that that's a really, really nice thing. And you know, when you don't have twins, people say to you, and it's so easy to say, oh, 2 at once, like, you get it done. It's so easy. And they're, like, socialized, but you can't really see that clarity because you're, like, in the thick of it, but it's really true. So that's kind of my light bulb.
Just having the 2. Do you think that, and this question is for all of you, but I'm going to ask Chelsea first. Do you think that before you had twins to the person you are now, do you think you're a different person?
I don't at all, I guess. But I think that I can do a lot more, and I watch a lot less TV.
Yeah, watching the less TV is the worst part. I always say, like, everybody has to have a goal. Some people are like, I'm going to learn Italian. I'm like, I'm just going to watch more television. That's my, like, when I retire, that's what I'm looking forward to. Netflix is what Looking
I
forward.
mean, I have a lot less time. Like this is probably the first time in 5 years that I haven't had a manicure in a week, which sounds like ridiculous, but that's like my one little like treat to myself that I even did when the babies were really young. But now that they're older, like there's just no time. So like there are some things like that. Like I don't go to Soul Cycle anymore, but those are really minor things that, you know, I choose my time to be home with the boys on my late night shift when I go home.
Aw, well, you just moved too.
Soon. Yeah, soon.
Oh my
Okay.
God, so it's not done. Oh, I can't wait till the new house is here. I'm so excited. Alex, do you feel like you're a little bit different than you were before they were here?
I think so. Just from the first baby, I think I changed with Amelia. Then second baby, I changed to care as much. Now that there's 4,
Yeah.
it's like whatever. Like I have lost a lot of my caring. Like I am a type A personality and I want things done the way I normally do them, and I'm organized, and I try to be on top of things. But now if someone comes over and is wanting to help, I'm not analyzing or critiquing the way that they're doing something the way I would have done it differently, like folding laundry or emptying or loading my dishwasher. I'm like, you know,
Whatever it is.
Everyone's surviving, and we're getting through. It's okay. And I think I'm going to continue that. Like we're in survival mode now. But as the babies get older, I think I think it's good to care less. Like I need to keep caring less, but you probably know the way I mean. It's not,
yeah. No, I think that caring less means something differently for everybody. But yeah, you are which I'm still a very type A. And actually, all of us, Kylie's not as bad. I mean, I think she's probably the least. Chelsea's super type A along with me, which is why Chelsea and I are friends. But I think we not that we care too much, but we focus too much on things that don't make it or break it. They're not deal breaker life situations that we're focusing on. And it's good when you become a parent, and then when you become a twin parent, you just let a little bit go, and you let a little bit go. And where you thought all of those things were important, you realize that my priority is getting up, washing, nourishing myself and my family, and then maybe, you know, taking, you know, a minute each day to say everybody's name once. Like that would pretty much like be like, that's my goal of the day. But I love that Kylee feels like she's changing and she's more confident, and she already had one. And now she's like, we kick ass. We do kick ass. That's not like a question. I wasn't worried. Like, do we kick ass? Do we? No, that's not a statement. From from the young me to the old me, I feel that having the kids really changed. And sometimes that could be difficult for our partners. So it's, you know, it's a transition for them as well. And Kylee, I'm really happy that you're taking the time to make sure that you still have him sitting next to you watching Netflix when retirement occurs. That's always a plus. But yeah, it's very impressive. So now, guys, I'm sorry, it's 1:49. I feel bad that I kept you so long. I have to go get the kids too. Plus tonight is Twiniversity class, so I have to go pack baby bags. I cannot possibly thank you for being a part of our family. And I really mean it from the bottom of my heart. I'm so happy. And I love to stalk you guys on social media. And Alex, like, you don't post enough, but you know, they're new. I'm going to let it slide in the beginning when I don't get enough posts. But like Kylie's videos, I find inspiring as I watch her exercise with my feet up on my couch, eating ice cream or whatever. That's how I prefer to watch Kylie's exercise videos. But I can't wait to watch Alex's babies grow up. And Chelsea, you know, I'm stalking your husband all the time anyway. But girls, I love you guys. I really mean it. I'm looking forward to doing this again. But if you need anything, you know where I am. Like you should know by now. And if you don't, I don't know how to possibly find me any easier. But try to have the best day. Good luck with your puppies. And next time we do this, we're going to have like a theme. Like we're going to do this like before the holidays. And then we'll see if Alex is still holding up and if it's still 1.5 babies. I will be charting how they grow throughout the first year. All right, kids?
Bye, Nat.
Bye, guys. See you later.
Monday. Bye.
Bye.